Let me read to you a passage from the 17th chapter of St. Luke's Gospel, verses 7 to 10. It's the Gospel for Tuesday of the 32nd week in Ordinary Time. St. Luke writes, Jesus said, "Suppose one of you had a servant ploughing or looking after the sheep. Would he say to the servant when he comes in from the field, 'Come along now and sit down and eat'? Would he not rather say, 'Prepare my supper, get yourself ready and wait on me while I eat and drink. After that you may eat and drink'? Would he thank the servant because he did what he was told to do? So you also, when you have done everything you were told to do, should say, 'We are unworthy servants. We have only done our duty.'" That's from Luke chapter 17, verses 7 to 10. What does it suggest to us? Well, it suggests thoughts about duty. You know, at various times I have come across persons who regret that they have the religious duties that are theirs. They envy those with fewer and less demanding duties. Such a person may be, say, a Catholic. He knows that as a Catholic he has various duties to fulfill, and he observes that many non-Catholics do not see themselves as having as many religious duties as he. The non-Catholic may not feel himself required to attend worship every Sunday. He may see himself as having less demanding requirements in certain other spheres of life. This person who envies the other with fewer duties is reluctant about duty. He wishes to be rid of it, and he cannot be said to love it. Duty is not for him a friend. Now, it is well to ponder often on the sheer phenomenon of duty in our daily experience. From our earliest years of conscious and reflective thought, we sense duty. I do not refer simply to external impositions, which, if they are not respected, bring sanctions. After all, a school bully may demand of others that they do this or that, and he may get compliance because of the threats he makes. But none of those who comply would regard their compliance as a duty. It is merely expedient. The demand coming from other sources may, however, be perceived precisely as a duty, such as the demand by school authorities that there be no bullying. The sanctions which bullying attracts may result in compliance for reasons primarily of expedience, but all know that this compliance cannot be reduced to expedience. This is because the demand in this case is also seen as representing a duty. Duty cannot be reduced to expedience, even though we may recognize that the fulfillment of our duty is also expedient for our happiness. There is something ultimate about the quality of duty, because there is something ultimate about the dignity of the one to whom one has the duties, be that person God or one's fellows. There is this too. Duty is not like an unpleasant acquaintance or even an enemy. It is a true friend. And while love for it is not just a matter of utility, still, as with any good friend, love for it, love for duty, will lead to our real happiness. Deep within his soul, man senses duty. It abides within and abides constantly. It does not glare menacingly at man, but while being severe, it smiles. It smiles with the promise of brightness ahead. More, man senses a greater presence within duty. This presence summons him to love precisely through his obedience to duty. That is to say, in the dictate of the conscience, the prudent man senses the echo of the voice of God. Our sense of duty is our most natural step to God, and if we respect the demands of duty, not with a weary reluctance or as a mere expedient, but for love, it will take us higher and higher. In our Gospel today that I read earlier, from Luke chapter 17, verses 7 to 10, our Lord surely suggests these ultimate rewards of doing one's duty. As we heard, so you also, when you have done everything you were told to do, should say, we are unworthy servants, we have only done our duty. Our Lord's words intimate that the fulfilling of one's duty for love of the God who summons in the duty will bring happiness aplenty. Such a person will not need further rewards for his happiness. All this is to say that a life of obedience to God in the fulfillment of one's duties of state will bring a profound happiness in itself. For instance, a girl marries early and leaves the home of her happy childhood to embark on her life's work, being wife and mother. She lives out her long life in the one small locality, bearing up with her difficult husband and disappointing children. She humbly and consistently lives a life of duty, happy with all. She prays daily, she is cheerful, she makes allowances for the unreasonable thoughtlessness of many around her. In a word, she strives to fulfill her duty in life. She does all this because she wants to love God and serve Him. Her duty brings her peace and a great heart. She finally reaches her end and is buried with her relatives, her grave hardly distinguished. But she became a great soul and was recognized as such. She had done no more than her duty, and her duty had led her to happiness and to sanctity, humble, hidden, but real. Duty is our best friend, provided we see it for what it is, the touch of God's finger, bringing light for the journey ahead and constituting our natural stairway to heaven. We are unworthy servants. We have done no more than our duty. The greatest saints have had that to say. And if anyone at the end of life is able to say this, that person has reached his term. John Henry Newman in the 19th century was prepared to go a long way in accepting Darwin's theory of evolution, but he drew the line at duty. The human being is distinguished by his conscience, by his sense of duty. Let us resolve to do our duty, the duties of every day which God is pleased to give us, knowing that our happiness and our flourishing here and hereafter will come from their loving fulfillment.